Welcome back. We're going to continue with more action now. So the New York, London, Milan and Paris stages are all set ablaze with futuristic fashions, artistic excellence and beautiful models. One local model who is not a stranger to these stages is Limpopo-born Denetric Malope. He's been or has made a significant impression in the competitive international fashion scene with formidable campaigns under his belt, already having worked for luxury brands including Dolce Gabbana, Gucci, Prada and Fendi, and that's just amongst many others. So this morning we're going to be catching up with the supermodel. He's currently in London. Good morning, Denetric. Thank you for making time to chat with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, darling. How are you?
I am very good, thank you. And I can hear you're doing very well. Thank you for being so bright and so early in the morning. Tell us perhaps what you're up to in London. What are you working on that side, perhaps, as we start things off?
Well, I'm currently preparing for Fashion Week, which is coming next month, while doing a little bit of the editorials and the commercials that are happening here in London. London is still one of the prominent fashion cities, but then it's currently going through a little bit of a holiday, just like in South Africa.
Okay, so as we look at your journey to date as well, I mean, you're in London now, but this obviously started back home here. And I wonder if you can talk to us about becoming this global brand, building a name for yourself in such a short-lived nature of the modeling industry. Well, what's been your secret to success?
I think my secret has just been consistency and being able to constantly push myself beyond the limits of what usually is set up for us and dreaming beyond a little bit of what I was given or what I was working with and trying to work with a little bit of more. So it's just been consistency and working really hard to get here.
Consistency and hard work, those ethics have taken you far because, I mean, now you're obviously a global force and you continue to work with big brands internationally. That must also come with a certain amount of pressure that you perhaps have to go through. Perhaps you could speak to your own evolution, overcoming your own inertia, self-belief, confidence when working with such brands. What went into developing that for yourself?
I mean, it's been a little bit of you are in a, how could I put it, in a bowl of a lot of people where you have to constantly be specific and unique. So I've constantly conquered the world with being a unique person and being who I am and constantly voicing out that. And it's created a little bit of it took a little bit of time to get where I am. And I think it's been more of constantly being different and expressing my uniqueness in a way.
Yes, absolutely. And because you've had the courage to express who you are and, showcase that vulnerability and that authenticity, it really does stand out, particularly when you have to, offer your magic that is unique to you. And you make it look easy as well. I can tell you that for sure. But when we're looking at the work that goes into, maintaining such a career day in, day out, being prepared, perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about, the standards, how you would have honed that for yourself, particularly if we're going to compare, the scene in South Africa vis-a-vis what's happening in the rest of the world. How have you been able to manage that for yourself?
I mean, the fashion scenery in total is generally evolving and has a different outlook compared to what South African standards are. I mean, I work in platforms where the beauty standards are actually set. So it's constantly also still being unique, but also I have to constantly work out. I have to be financially smart about each and everything I do. And I have to always try to keep up while still trying to be unique. So it's a little bit of more of that, but working in global platforms where every standard of things are usually set, it's such a high pressure situation. And I've constantly had to work out. It's just keeping up as well, but also still remaining unique and true to who I am and where I come from.
Yes, but perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about that, those standards, and how you managed to find yourself in that. Has it also shifted in terms of perception? Because representation and inclusivity, it's important, right? So if we're looking at the evolution on that front, how would you weigh in on really what is happening on the global scene?
I mean, on the global scene, luckily for me, I was fitting more of the global scene than I was fitting back at home, whereby it was the big boys and everything. I was already fitting with the slim people that were already being on the market at the moment. But now I love how it has each and everybody has a place in a way, and each and everybody has a way to voice out themselves and still be represented. So I feel like I'm one of the people who are representing a minority of the people that were never seen, who are a little bit queer, a little bit different, a little bit weird.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you're also opening up doors for your brother label as well. That's an important step for you, for your family at large. If we're looking at that process, perhaps before we look at your brother's career as well, I just wonder, you know, for those who've tuned in terms of actually starting out, understanding that this is what you'd like to do, your chosen path. Tell us a little bit more about how that would have unfolded in South Africa, perhaps before you obviously entered the global scene.
I mean, I studied fashion design at first, so I got to see a vision of who I could potentially be while being at the fashion school. So that played a very big role on me knowing who I would like to become in the future. And it just took more research. So I constantly had to research and know what happens out there and what I actually need, the kind of tools I need to equip myself in order to be able to be in these spaces. And that's what we did as well for my little brother as well. I constantly researched, and I think with him as well, I told him before he even saw it that I feel like we're going to put you on this kind of platform. So when it comes to a certain age, I hope you're prepared for it.
Yes, because that preparation is important, and you've also played a pivotal role in having other people understand more about the international scene. You give advice on your social media. You're also assisting your brother as well. Tell us a little bit more about that wisdom that you impart, the lessons learnt as well. Really, what's going into that, and how is it taking off on that front?
I think on my side, I've had a lot of experiences, the good and the bad as well. So that I feel like built a lot of wisdom when it comes to knowing exactly what happens. So I usually give off advice based on experience, and I've gotten a social platform to actually express it. And I feel like people have been receiving me a bit well, getting to actually know what happens other than it being such a fantasy. And with my brother as well, I work as his manager, as his co-manager as well. So with the experience that I have and with his own experience as well, we get to navigate a different path for him that is different for me, but then that works very well for him as well. If I could put it like that.
Yeah, absolutely, loud and clear, because those challenges obviously exist in a unique context for everyone that's involved. And we obviously hear perceptions about how it is a cutthroat industry. Is it still, on that level? And if there is advice that you would like to give people at home or watching or want to venture into modeling, perhaps even just understand the value chain as well. You pursued design before walking the runway. What are some of those advice points that you'd like to impart?
I mean, it still is a very much cutthroat industry because it's such a very closed industry with only specific kind of unique kind of people. So it's either you fit the standards or usually you're not out. And I feel like that's the reality that a lot of us usually are so afraid of facing. But then when it comes to fashion school, I think it really helped me a lot with getting to understand the industry before even going out and playing out as an image, because then I was behind the scene. Now I am an image of how the industry could be.
Yeah. Well, you're flying the flag high for us. You're representing us loudly and proudly. So thank you for your work, and thank you for also representing the continent as well. We're going to leave the conversation there. Enjoy London, and we're wishing you all the best of luck with your future endeavors as well, Denetric. Denetric Malope this morning joining us, obviously an international model taking the world by storm, chatting about his unique journey and really what we can expect from him for the future. Let's leave the conversation there. We'll be right back after this. Murder's standing by. There's a package on his life at times. He's returning with a new album as well.